let me ask you, just change gears a little bit. As someone who dealt with a lot of the aged people, dementia is becoming more and more common. Did you notice? I mean, there's people that suggested that things like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are just brain insulin resistance, brain diabetes, so on and so forth. And I know, like my grandmother at 95, she passed away at 95 of basically Alzheimer's disease. She was, in the latter years of her life, perhaps the last 10 years, she had an insatiable craving for sugar. She just wanted to eat sugar, cookies, cake all the time. Do we see a relationship between those with dementia and a profound desire to eat sweets and sugar? Are you seeing that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally inflammatory. No question about it. And, there's an argument out there that if you you got to remember your brain is predominantly built from fat, cholesterol. You need that to support all your neurological processes. And despite what people think, you don't need sugar. Your body will make as much sugar as it needs, and the brain will function better. And by doing away with this inflammation and by giving it the cholesterol, the fat that you need, you're going to be able to support and repair the inflammation that's going on there. I do question that there's so many medicines that the elderly take that are detrimental. And this is where, as a physician, I've been a legal drug pusher, and now I'm trying to be a healer. And I'm not saying that all medicines you shouldn't use any medicine. There are medicines with benefit, but there's a lot of medicines doing harm. I'm trying not to throw you under the bus on YouTube, but if you take the best cholesterol lowering medicine and you actually look at it, there's no benefit in mortality. Yet if you cut off the whole cascade of things that are made from cholesterol at the top of the chain, you shut down everything that the body needs to repair itself and fix itself. This is the other genius of carnivore. It's just a thought to remind you. Ultimately, the greatness of the carnivore is that you get to intermittent fasting. And if you stop eating for 10, 12 hours, your insulin comes down, your inflammation comes down, your repair system starts to take off. Try to fast while you're running on sugar. Good luck. You probably have much more willpower than me, but you're not going to last long on that process. You just won't be able to continue doing it for any length of time. That's why so many people do diets. They're on it for 2 weeks and then they gain everything back 3 times. But when you're consuming 70% animal fat, your appetite's shot. You're not hungry. It's easy to fast and not eat because you're just not hungry. You're not interested. And therefore your body can repair and heal. And that's the real genius behind the carnivore, that you're getting all the essential things that you need. You're getting the essential amino acids, you're getting the essential fats, and the minerals, of course, that you need. But you're giving time out. We've been so indoctrinated that you got to eat 3 meals. Back in the day when I was going to the gym, maybe you should be eating 6 meals a day. And there's nothing better than doing that to keep your insulin through the roof. And insulin, in my book, causes weight gain, increases your appetite, and gives you the inflammation. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, obviously insulin has a role. I mean, if we look at a type 1 diabetic who can't produce, if they're not supplementing insulin, they rapidly wither away and end up dying. And so we there's this difference between hyperinsulinemia, which is this constant chronic overstimulation, versus, a baseline minimal amount. And let me ask you, as far as, is there I know, like the American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, is there a similar governing body or patient advocacy group for the geriatric community? Is there a American Board of Geriatrics, and do they recommend a certain diet?
I don't know that I will tell you that it pretty much doesn't matter what board it is, unless you're gone into the anti-aging realm, like 4am or into different alternative roads of medicine. But if you're in standard medicine, the mantra is Mediterranean per se. And as you know, with the American Heart Association now, they've done a very quiet partial 180, where they're saying that some animal saturated fats are okay. You know, some, you should have some, but not go too crazy on it. They haven't made, they didn't want to come out and, because prior to that, they were completely against it. But if you truly delve into it, they're all following the American diet rules, which are based on observations that have no basis.
I mean, is it still something? I mean, I'm sure you've seen this in the hospitals. I mean, they would supplement a lot of these for protein, things like Ensure and Boost, which are these liquid drinks that are basically, I think they're like corn syrup and soybean oil and some sort of maybe milk protein. Is that something you saw being pushed significantly?
The way I saw it is the hospital foods were always designed to keep you in the hospital. Here I eat during the days that I'd be treating somebody for diabetic and I'd see what they get to eat in the hospital. I'm going, I can't believe they're getting all this. I mean, here it is. I'm trying to control their sugars and they're getting orange juice and pancakes in the morning. It's terrible. And you're absolutely right about the Ensure. It's terrible.
Yeah, oddly enough, and this is sort of just totally weird, but I had a dream last night. I was in the hospital and I had a patient, and literally they had an all meat diet option on the hospital menu, which I thought was, you know, it's. I don't know if we'll ever get to that. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where we can prescribe carnivore diets in a hospital?
I think it will. I think it is coming. As you see, you know, it's hard to say where this world's going, but I think there's so many people who are waking up and trying this. You know, one of my big issues when I first started this was, oh my God, this is going to put me in the poorhouse. I can't afford meat every day, steak every day. And actually, I spend less on food now than I did before. And I got 3 kids, they come and go. But, you know, when you start buying fruit and you start buying all the different things for lettuces and all the different sauces, and all of a sudden, you don't need any of that. You just need your steak, hamburger, whatever you're eating from a meat source, and salt. My fridge is filled with, you know, heavy cream. And I do have a cheat. I love my coffee. I do my bulletproof coffee every day, and that's my cheat. So I got tons of heavy cream. But beyond that, all I got in that fridge is meat.
Yeah, it is actually, when you think about it, you know, even if you're eating, you know, some steak, when it comes to saving money, you're actually not spending so much. And my fridge looks like, you know, mostly steak. There's a bunch of eggs in there. I went and bought 120 eggs yesterday. It's kind of funny. The Costco's are now restricting how many eggs you can buy. You can only buy two containers. So I buy the 5 dozen at a time, and then I buy 2 of those. So that's 120, 10 dozen eggs. And that'll last me about a week, and then I go back and refill. And so it's, but it's actually can be more economical to be on a carnivore diet than a standard diet where you're spending, like you said, ridiculous amounts of money on organic fruits and vegetables and other things, for sure.